You've stepped into Crimson Moon stories where love is dangerous, loyalty is tested, and fate always leaves a scar. I'm Noktula and I wrote this story just for you. Ready to feel everything? Let's begin.
Samantha Gray knew exactly how many cracks lined the hallway to the kitchen. 36. She'd counted them since she was 10, when the glares were too sharp and the words too cruel. Counting gave her control. Samantha, Rachel whispered, behind her. Don't walk too fast. You know they'll just... I know, Samantha muttered, keeping her head down. Whispers stirred as they passed. That's her, the daughter of the alpha killer. Should have thrown her out years ago. She's still breathing because of Alpha Aiden. Pity. Rachel gave them her fiercest glare. Back off. They didn't. They never did. Samantha had been forced into the Red Hollow Pack as a living punishment after her father, Marcus Gray, murdered their beloved Alpha 17 years ago. She wasn't guilty, but her bloodline was. Now 20, Samantha had learned to survive. She ate last, trained alone, slept in the attic above the supply room, but she never broke, not entirely. Come on, Rachel said gently, handing her a protein bar. Skip breakfast today. The new warriors are training at the southern field. You don't want to run into them. Samantha nodded and tucked the bar into her hoodie. Thanks. Rachel was her only friend, if someone who risked everything just to speak to her counted as a friend. Most wolves were too afraid of being associated with her. Rachel wasn't. Brave and blunt, she was the only reason Samantha hadn't completely withdrawn. As they reached the courtyard, a hush fell over the area. A tall, broad figure was stepping out of a black SUV, flanked by the pack beta, Lucas. Rachel's eyes widened. Oh no! Samantha's heart stalled. She didn't need to be told. Alpha Aiden Black was back. Aiden Black hadn't returned for her. That's what Samantha told herself as she stood behind a tree, watching him shake hands with Lucas and nod at the waiting warriors. The last time she'd seen him was 6 months ago. He'd left right after discovering their bond, and hadn't spoken a single word to her since. Now he was here, looking every bit the alpha he was. Tall, dark-haired, and radiating authority with every move. His sharp jawline was dusted with stubble, and his grey eyes were unreadable. Rachel nudged her. You okay? I don't care, Samantha said too quickly. Rachel raised an eyebrow. Sure, and I'm secretly mated to Lucas. Samantha didn't laugh. Her fingers tightened around the bark of the tree. Lucas gestured toward the pack house, but Aiden paused. His gaze swept across the field and locked on Samantha. She froze. For one agonizing moment, no one else existed. His expression was impassive, but his eyes flared with something. Anger, pain, longing. Then he looked away. Come on, Samantha said hoarsely, turning. Let's go. Rachel followed, but not before muttering, He saw you. I don't care, but her heart thundered in her chest like it did. Later that afternoon, Samantha was chopping firewood behind the storage shed when someone approached. She didn't need to look up. She recognized the footsteps. I thought you'd be halfway across the territory by now, she said, not turning. Aiden exhaled. That's how you greet your alpha now? Samantha looked up. You stopped being my alpha the day you rejected me. A flash of guilt crossed his face. I never rejected you. You left. He stepped closer. I had to. Why? Her voice cracked. Because you couldn't stomach the idea that your mate was me? The daughter of the man who killed your father? Silence. She tossed the axe aside and walked away, but he followed. Samantha, don't, she said, spinning around. Don't say my name like that. You didn't speak to me for 6 months. You left me to deal with this bond, alone. His jaw tightened. I thought I was doing you a favor. By abandoning me. Her laugh was bitter. You weren't protecting me. You were protecting yourself. Aiden didn't deny it. She turned again, and this time he let her go. Every full moon, The Red Hollow Pack honored tradition with a night hunt. Warriors, betas, and even alphas took part, except Samantha. She was always excluded. Until now. Orders from Aiden, Lucas told her bluntly. You're to join the outer patrol. No arguments. She met his eyes. Is this punishment? Ask him yourself, Lucas muttered and walked off. Rachel caught up moments later. You don't have to do it. Samantha shook her head. He's the alpha. I'll go. Dressed in light gear, she shifted into her wolf. A lithe silver form with sharp blue eyes. As the hunt began, she kept to the outskirts, far from the main group. She didn't belong with them. Not even tonight. Then a snarl broke through the trees. She whipped around. A rogue. Massive, scarred, and heading straight for her. She darted left, dodged, but the rogue clipped her hind leg. Pain seared. She shifted mid-air and slammed into the ground, human again, bleeding and dazed. A second, rogue lunged, but Aiden was there, in full wolf form, black, ferocious. He tackled the rogue, teeth sinking deep. It was over in seconds. She barely breathed as Aiden shifted back and approached her. You're hurt. No kidding, she muttered, clutching her leg. Without asking, he scooped her into his arms. You don't get to play the hero, she whispered, angry and shaking. He said nothing, but the look in his eyes said otherwise. Samantha sat on the infirmary bed while Beth, Liam's younger sister and the apprentice healer, wrapped her leg. You're lucky, Beth murmured. If Aiden hadn't gotten there when he did. Yeah. Samantha looked away. The door opened. Liam strode in, eyes flashing. You should have never been out there. Samantha tried to smile. Nice to see you too. He ran a hand through his blonde hair. You're bleeding, Sam. I've bled worse. Beth finished the bandage and stepped out with a worried glance. Liam sat beside her. He was watching. You all night. You know that? She stiffened. He marked your trail, stuck close. He knew the rogues would find you. You think he set me up? She asked, incredulous. No, Liam admitted. I think he's afraid. Of me. Of the bond, of what it means. Before she could reply, the door opened again. Aiden entered. Liam stood. She doesn't need you right now. She's not yours to protect. Samantha groaned. Oh my goddess, I'm right here. Neither looked at her. I'm not leaving. Again, Aiden said. Liam crossed his arms. Good. Then maybe you'll finally watch her walk away. Samantha stared at both of them. 2 men, 2 lives. 1 heart, hers. The infirmary was silent after Liam stormed out. Samantha sat on the bed, arms folded, eyes locked on the floor. Aiden stayed by the door, watching her like she might vanish again. You should leave, she muttered. No, he said quietly. I've done enough of that. She looked up sharply. So what now? You decide to claim me? Pretend the last 6 months didn't happen? I'm not pretending. Then what are you doing, Aiden? She snapped, her voice trembling. You found out I was your mate and disappeared. No explanation. No goodbye, nothing. And now you show up, throw me into a rogue attack and suddenly decide to play protector? His jaw tightened. You think I wanted this? Don't, she whispered, standing. Don't say it like I'm some curse. He took a step closer. It's not you. It's what you represent. My father died because of yours. I'm Alpha. Because of that night. Every time I look at you, I feel it all over again. Then don't look at me, she said coldly, because I'm not going to keep begging for a bond I never asked for. He didn't stop her as she limped past him, her bandaged leg slowing her down. But as she reached the hallway, he spoke again. I tried to reject the bond, he said, hoarsely, but I couldn't. The moon goddess won't let me. She didn't turn around. That's your problem, not mine. It was near midnight when Samantha reached the roof of the pack house. It was her secret place. The only place. No, one followed. Except tonight someone did. I figured I'd find you here, Liam said, climbing up beside her. She didn't move. I didn't ask to be found. He sat beside her anyway, handing her a steaming mug. Hot chocolate, stolen from the kitchen. A reluctant smile tugged at her lips. You're risking Rachel's wrath. She's scary when her snacks go missing, he agreed. Worth it. They sat in silence, the moonlight washing over the rooftop. Samantha wrapped her fingers around the mug. You okay? He asked softly. She shrugged. I don't know. Aiden's back. The rogues nearly killed me, and the pack is still waiting for me to mess up. So, yeah, I'm fantastic. Liam chuckled. Still sarcastic. That's a good sign. She turned to him. Why do you keep doing this? What? Being here. Being kind. He looked at her then, his expression unguarded. Because when everyone else looked away from you, I couldn't. I saw you, Sam. I still do. Her breath caught. And then he leaned in. She didn't stop him. Their lips met, soft at first, then urgent. For a moment, it wasn't about mates or pain or the past. It was about comfort, warmth. The one person who had always chosen her. When they finally pulled apart, her eyes glistened. I'm sorry, she whispered. Don't be, he said, not for feeling something, but neither of them spoke about what came next. The next morning, Samantha woke to searing pain in her chest, like claws tearing at her ribs. She doubled over in her room, gasping for air. Rachel burst in, pale and panicked. Sam? What's wrong? It hurts, Samantha choked. The bond. Rachel grabbed her shoulders. Did something happen last night? With Aiden? No, Samantha groaned. With Liam. Rachel's eyes widened. Oh no. I kissed him. Just once. But now. You're his mate, Rachel said urgently. The bond doesn't like you being touched by someone else. Samantha curled tighter, the pain unrelenting. It's punishing me. I'll get Beth. Hold on. Beth arrived minutes later, followed by Lucas, who looked grim. She needs him, Beth said softly. Aiden, it's the only thing that'll ease the pain now. No, Samantha gasped. I don't want him. Lucas shook his head. Want has nothing to do with it. The goddess bound you. You're fighting it. Rachel glared at him. She didn't choose this. And neither did Aiden, Lucas snapped. But here we are. The door slammed open, and Aiden stood there, eyes glowing with fury and fear. What happened? She kissed Liam, Lucas said flatly. Aiden's wolf surged to the surface, growling low and dangerous. Beth stepped between them. Focus. She's in pain. Without another word, Aiden knelt beside Samantha and pressed his forehead to hers. Instantly, the pain ebbed. Samantha gasped, tears spilling. Why? Why does this hurt so much? Because we're bound, Aiden whispered. And every part of me feels what you do. Every part of you feels what I ignore. By the next morning, the pack was buzzing. She kissed Liam. The alphas. Mate chose a warrior. She's breaking the bond. Samantha avoided the stairs as she walked to the training field. Her leg still throbbed, but the pain from the bond had dulled, barely. Rachel jogged beside her. Everyone's talking, even Eleanor. Eleanor hates me. She's Aiden's sister. She's protective. I didn't kiss Liam to spite anyone, Samantha said quietly. I kissed him because he makes me feel safe, Rachel nodded. I get it. But the bond's not just about feelings. It's primal. It'll keep pulling at you. I hate that. As they reached the field, Liam was already there, sparring with two younger wolves. He looked up when he saw her. His gaze softened, but he didn't approach. Good. She didn't know what she'd say if he did, but someone else did approach. Elena. With dark hair pulled back in a sleek braid and piercing brown eyes, Elena had always been the pack's quiet. Storm, can we talk? She asked coolly. Rachel looked at Samantha. Want me to stay? No, it's fine. They stepped aside, into the shadows of the trees. I don't like you, Elena said bluntly. I don't trust you, and I sure as hell don't think you deserve my brother. Samantha straightened. You're entitled to your opinion. But, Elena added, I also saw the way he looked when you were in pain. I've never seen him scared like that. Samantha swallowed hard. So if you're going to break his heart, do it now, Elena said. Don't string him along. And if you're going to stay, then you'd better fight like hell for your place in this pack. Then she turned and walked away. Aiden sat alone in his office, a glass of scotch in his hand. Lucas leaned against the doorframe. Want to talk? About it? No. Want to punch something? Aiden smirked faintly. Maybe. Lucas came in and dropped into the seat across from him. She's struggling. So am I. She kissed Liam. I know, Aiden muttered. The bond nearly tore me in half. Lucas studied him. You left because you were afraid, didn't you? I left because I didn't know how to lead a pack while being mated to her, Aiden said. How would they follow me, knowing I'm tied to the daughter of the man who destroyed their alpha? Lucas was quiet for a moment. Do you trust the bond? I don't know. Then figure it out, because Liam's not going to wait forever. Across the compound, Samantha stood near the forest edge, staring at the trees. Her hands trembled. Rachel appeared beside her. You thinking of running? I thought about it. You wouldn't get far. Samantha gave her a look. Because I'd drag your stubborn ass back, Rachel said with a smile. Samantha laughed, just barely. Then she looked up at the moon. What if I'm not strong enough? Rachel took her hand. Then I'll be strong for both of us. Until you believe it yourself. Samantha sat by the lake just before dawn, the breeze lifting her hair and carrying the scent of pine and smoke. The world was quiet, until Liam dropped down beside her with 2 mugs of coffee. No hot chocolate this time, she asked. Ran out, he said. Rachel caught me and threatened violence. She smiled faintly and took the mug. Thanks. He watched her for a long moment. You okay? No, she said honestly. The pain's gone, but everything still feels twisted, like something's broken. You're not broken, Sam. You've been surviving alone in a place that wants you gone. That's strength. She looked at him. Why are you always the one making me feel like I'm worth something? He reached for her hand. Because you are. And I'm not giving up on you. Not for Aiden. Not for the bond. Not for anything. Her breath hitched. Even if it means going against the alpha. I'd fight him for you. Samantha stared at him, heart in her throat. Liam. He leaned forward and pressed a kiss to her forehead. Gentle. Steady. I'll wait. He said. But I won't watch you get hurt again. And with that, he stood and left her alone, with a heart torn in 2. Training wasn't optional in Red Hollow, not even for the outcast. Samantha limped onto the field the next morning, Rachel already holding 2 wooden staffs. You showed up, Rachel said with a grin. I'm impressed. I'm sore, not dead. Rachel tossed her a staff. Good. Let's test how sore. They started slow. Swings, blocks, footwork. Samantha grunted with each movement, her legs still stiff from the rogue attack, but she pushed through. You're getting faster, Rachel said, circling her. Samantha wiped sweat from her brow. Or you're getting slower, Rachel smirked. Want to bet? They clashed, staffs connecting in a flurry of sound. Samantha spun low, knocked Rachel's feet from under her, and stood panting above her friend's back. Rachel groaned. Okay, you're definitely not broken. A slow clap echoed across the field. Both girls turned. Aiden stood on the edge of the training ring, arms crossed. Samantha straightened immediately. What do you want? To train, he said. You're not the only one who needs discipline. Rachel glanced between them, raised an eyebrow, then wisely backed off. Aiden picked up a staff and stepped into the ring. No wolves, he said. Just us. Samantha raised her chin. Fine. They fought, silent, intense, and aggressive. For every strike he landed, she returned one harder. It wasn't about skill anymore. It was emotion, fury, denial, desire, hurt. When he finally disarmed her, she stumbled back, breathing hard. "Still think I'm weak?" she panted. He looked at her, truly looked. "No," he said softly. "I think you're the strongest person I know." Later that afternoon, a pack meeting was called. Wolves gathered in the courtyard, whispers swirling like smoke as Aiden stepped onto the raised platform beside Lucas. Samantha stood with Rachel at the edge of the crowd, unseen as usual. Lucas's voice boomed across the clearing. "As of today, Alpha Aiden Black officially resumes full command of Red Hollow." A smattering of applause, some murmurs. Aiden stepped forward. "While I've been gone, rogues have grown bolder. Border attacks have increased. That ends now. We will double patrols. We will strengthen our warriors. And we will prepare for more than just defense." A few wolves straightened at that. Elena stepped forward. "Are you suggesting war?" Aiden's eyes met hers. "I'm suggesting readiness." He paused. "And something else. You deserve transparency. I'm not hiding anymore. The moon goddess chose a mate for me. Her name is Samantha Gray." The crowd went dead silent. "She is the daughter of Marcus Gray," Aiden continued, "but she is not her father. She has served this pack with more grace than I ever have. You may not like her, you may not trust her, but she is mine, and she will not be treated like an outcast again." Samantha froze. Rachel whispered, "Holy shh." Someone growled nearby. Another scoffed. But Aiden stood firm. "Anyone who disrespects her disrespects me. If that's a problem, speak now." No one did. And just like that, everything shifted. After the announcement, the tension was palpable. Wolves eyed Samantha like she was some cursed talisman come to life. She walked through the hallways with her head held high, but her hands trembled. In the dining hall, Liam caught up to her. "I heard," he said. "I didn't ask for any of it," she replied, grabbing a tray. "I know, but you heard what he said. He's claiming you. He's making a political move," she said, "trying to unify the pack." Liam grabbed her wrist. "You think that's all it is?" She met his eyes. "I don't know what to think anymore." That night, she found Aiden waiting outside her room. "You should have told me," she said. "I needed them to hear it from me." "Now what?" she asked. "You think you can flip a switch and make them like me?" "No, but I can make them fear what happens if they don't respect you." She shook her head. "That's not what I want." "But it's what they need," he said. "They won't give you their hearts, but they will give you space, if they fear me." "Then what about your heart, Aiden?" she asked softly. "Do I have that?" He stepped forward. "You've always had it. That's the problem." The ceremony was unannounced, quick, strategic. Aiden arranged for a small gathering in the main hall. Pack elders, ranked wolves, and his most trusted circle. Lucas, Elena, even Beth. Samantha stood frozen at the back, Rachel whispering frantically in her ear. "You don't have to do this." "I know. You could say no." "I might." Then Aiden stepped forward, dressed in black, radiating power. He held a silver chalice and extended his hand. "Come forward, Samantha." She did. The room watched her every move like she was a ticking bomb. The moment she reached him, he lowered his voice. "This doesn't bind you, not unless you want it." Her eyes met his. Then she turned to the crowd. "To all of you who've whispered, cursed and doubted me," she said clearly. "I don't need your approval, but I do demand your truth. I've bled for this pack. I've been beaten, hated, and ignored, and I'm still here." Silence. "I was born from a traitor, but I am not him. I am not Marcus Gray." She looked back at Aiden. "But I'm also not yours, not yet, not until I choose you," and she walked away, leaving Aiden stunned and the room stunned with him. The attic was cold and smelled of dust, but Samantha had always preferred it to the rooms below where whispers lived in the walls. After the botched claiming ceremony, she needed air. Space. She opened the old wooden chest at the end of the cot, where she kept a few things from her past. Among them was a small box, locked. She hadn't touched it since she was 13. Rachel had found it years ago, thrown into the trash behind the pack house after they'd moved Samantha into the attic. Now, her hands trembled as she opened it. Inside were old photographs, a cracked leather-bound journal, and at the very bottom, a bundle of letters, sealed and addressed in her father's handwriting. To my daughter, Samantha. She stared at them for a long time before finally tearing the first, one open. I know the world will tell you I'm a monster, maybe I am, but I never wanted to hurt you. Everything I did was for you, and for the truth they tried to bury. She read the whole thing, then the next, and another. By the fifth letter, her hands were shaking. The alpha I killed. He wasn't the man they believed. He made choices that cost our pack dearly, and I paid the price when I threatened to expose him. They called it betrayal, but it was justice. Tears spilled silently down her cheeks. I need to know more, she whispered, and she knew exactly where to start. The next morning, Samantha walked into Aiden's office, clutching the letters. Lucas was seated at the corner desk reviewing patrol logs, but he looked up with concern when he saw her face. I need to speak to Aiden, she said, her voice tight. Lucas nodded and stood. He's in the war room. When she entered, Aiden was bent over a large map spread across the table, flanked by Elena and beta warriors. He looked up, startled. Samantha, I need to speak to you. Alone. Elena's eyes narrowed. If it's about the ceremony. It's not, Samantha snapped. Aiden raised a hand, dismissing the others. Once they were alone, he walked around the table slowly. What is it? She dropped the bundle of letters in front of him. These were from my father. He stiffened. I read them. He says your father wasn't the man the pack believes he was. Aiden's face darkened. He's lying. Is he? She challenged. He claims your father made deals with the war pack, that he planned to sell land, Red Hollow land, for their protection. That's impossible, is it? She repeated. He stared at the letters but didn't reach for them. My father was an honourable man. So was mine. Or once, she said bitterly. Until he decided the truth was more important than loyalty. Aiden looked away. I want a trial, she said. For Marcus Gray, a real one, before the elders. No one will agree to it. Then make them. When he didn't speak, she whispered, if you really believe I'm your mate, fight for my truth, not just your father's legacy. He said nothing, but he didn't say no. The next full moon brought tension across the territory. The elders reluctantly agreed to hold a trial for Marcus Gray, but not without outrage. Samantha stood outside the elder chamber, flanked by Rachel and Beth. Inside, Marcus sat chained, expression impassive. She hadn't seen him in nearly a decade. His face was older, weathered, but his eyes, the same blue as hers, watched her like he had been waiting for this moment all along. When the guards let her in, the room went quiet. Marcus stood. Sam, don't, she whispered. You don't get to call me that. His jaw clenched. Then say what you came to say. You said in your letters that you tried to expose the Alpha. That's why you killed him. I didn't mean to kill him. But yes, I went there to confront him. He had made arrangements with the war pack, territory in exchange for peace. The council refused. So he made the deal in secret. Do you have proof? I had records. I gave them to a friend, but they vanished the night I was arrested. Who? She asked quickly. Marcus hesitated. Someone still on the council. Samantha's eyes narrowed. Name. He shook his head. If I speak it now, they'll kill him before we ever make it to trial. I need more than words. Dad. Marcus leaned closer. Then find the missing records. I hid the rest under the old cabin, the one near North Hill. Your mother used to take you there. She stared at him for a long time. If you're lying, I'd rather die than lie to you again, he whispered. Later that evening, Samantha was in the Pack library combing through maps of the North Hill region when Liam arrived, ruffled and sweaty from training. Why? Are you always researching when everyone else is resting? He teased. She looked up. Because apparently my father wasn't the traitor we thought he was. Liam sat beside her, frowning. You believe him? I don't know what I believe, but he gave me a location. If I find something there, I'll have proof. He nodded. Then I'll come with you. No, I need you here, in case anything happens. Sam. She reached over and touched his hand. Please. He sighed, nodded reluctantly. Then promise me you'll be careful. I promise. As they sat in silence, the door opened. Aiden stepped inside, stopping when he saw their joined hands. His eyes narrowed. Liam met his gaze without flinching. Aiden walked forward. I need to speak with Samantha. She's busy, Liam said. She can speak for herself, Aiden replied. Samantha pulled her hand away from Liam and stood. What is it? Come with me, Aiden said, turning. She hesitated, then followed. Outside, the air was sharp. He stopped near the training ring and turned to her. You're going to the cabin? Yes. Alone? I don't need your permission. No, he said, stepping closer. But you have my protection, whether you want it or not. She looked up at him. Why do you keep doing this? Because I can't stop thinking about you. Because every time you're near Liam, something inside me burns. That's the bond, she said coldly. No, Aiden said. That's me, wanting you. Samantha set out before dawn. The air was damp with fog, the forest quiet except for her footsteps. She reached the old cabin near North Hill just before sunrise. It was abandoned, overgrown. Vines choked the porch and the door creaked on rusty hinges. Inside, it was musty but familiar. She hadn't been there since she was 6. She dropped to her knees in the corner near the hearth and began digging. The stone tile came loose with effort, revealing a small wooden box. Inside, papers. Yellowed and sealed. Red Hollow territory. Transfer agreement signed. Alpha Gabriel, Black receiving. Commander Malric of the war. Pack her stomach dropped. He had made the deal, and Marcus had been telling the truth. Suddenly, a sharp noise outside made her freeze. She grabbed the papers and backed away. The door burst open. 2 wolves. Not Red Hollow, rogues. She shifted instantly, her silver wolf quick and agile, and tore into the first intruder, but the second caught her side, throwing her into a wall. Just as she got to her feet, another wolf slammed through the window. Aiden. His black wolf was fury incarnate. He destroyed the rogue in seconds, his fangs soaked with blood. Samantha collapsed. Against the wall, panting, Aiden shifted and rushed to her side. You okay? She held up the documents, her hands shaking. I found it. The truth. His eyes scanned the papers, and the blood drained from his face. It was real, he whispered. She nodded. Everything changes now. He looked at her. You just changed the future of the entire pack. She leaned into him, exhausted. Then let's make sure it's one worth living for. The Elder Council chamber was colder than Samantha remembered. The stone walls, once oppressive, now felt like a courtroom in a kingdom long overdue for justice. Aiden stood to her right, arms folded, the documents she found in his grip. On her left sat Rachel and Beth, silent, solid support. Elena, Lucas, and 3 elder wolves sat across from them. Marcus was brought in, shackled but upright, defiant, not broken. Elder Trina, sharp-eyed and skeptical, raised her voice. You requested a retrial for Marcus Gray. Based on what? Aiden stepped forward. Based on this. He laid the documents on the center table. Trina reached forward, scanned them, then passed them to the others. Samantha spoke next. My father claimed Alpha Gabriel made deals with the Warpack. I found the contract. Signed, dated, marked with Gabriel's seal. Trina raised an eyebrow. This doesn't excuse murder. No, Samantha agreed, but it proves motive. It proves Gabriel betrayed the pack, and my father tried to stop it. Another elder, Malcolm, leaned in. You think that justifies Marcus killing him? Aiden interjected. Gabriel's actions would have endangered every wolf in Red Hollow. Land loss, no council consent. If Marcus had gone to war instead of being silenced, he might have saved lives. Silence fell. Then Trina said, What do you want from this, Alpha? Aiden didn't look at Samantha as he said, A full exoneration, stripping the traitor title, and reinstating Marcus Gray's name as a loyal warrior of Red Hollow. And the murder charge? Another asked. Samantha looked up. Let the truth decide that. Trina gave a curt nod. Trial resumes at dawn. The chamber was packed. Warriors, omegas, healers, and scouts all crowded inside. The buzz of curiosity was electric. Samantha sat in the witness chair as Elder Trina called her to speak. I grew up as your outcast, Samantha began. Every insult, every shove, every cold look, I took it. Because I believed my father had done something unforgivable. But he didn't kill the Alpha for power. He killed him to stop him. She held up the contract. This is proof. And if you ignore it, you're choosing tradition over truth. Trina nodded slowly. Thank you. Marcus was next. He stood, unshackled now. I never wanted power. I wanted to protect the land. Gabriel used to be my friend, but when he betrayed our territory for personal gain, I confronted him. He attacked first. I killed him in self-defense. Lucas stood. Then why not speak out then? Marcus's voice broke. I tried, but I was arrested before I could. The documents vanished, and my name was buried. The elders conferred. Whispers turned to murmurs. Samantha watched Aiden's face, still, unreadable, until Trina finally stood. The council rules in favor of the accused. Marcus Gray is hereby cleared of treason. The room erupted. Samantha's hands flew to her mouth, eyes welling. Marcus turned to her, but didn't approach. Instead, he bowed his head. To her. Later that evening, Samantha sat on the back steps of the pack house, staring out at the tree line. The night was quiet, almost too quiet, like the forest was holding its breath. Liam joined her, 2 mugs in hand. Celebration, she asked. Closure, he said, handing her the mug. You got what you came for. Not everything. He sat beside her, close but not touching. I knew this day would come, he said. The day he'd win. She looked at him. He didn't win. The truth did. He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. That's the thing about truths. They don't care who gets broken in the process. Samantha looked away. I never meant to hurt you. I know. They sat in silence. Then he said, I'm transferring to Black Ridge. Her head whipped. Around. What? They need a new combat trainer. I asked for the spot a few days ago. I didn't expect to get it so fast. But why? Because I can't watch this anymore, he said gently. You love him. Maybe not completely. Not yet, but it's there. And as long as I stay, I'll keep hoping. Tears stung her eyes. Liam, don't go. I have to. He kissed her cheek. Light. Final. Be happy, Sam. Then he stood and walked away. Aiden found her standing on the roof again, staring at the stars like they owed her answers. He approached quietly. He told you? Yes, she said without turning. He's leaving. I didn't ask him to. I know. A long silence stretched between them. You did it, she said finally. You cleared my father's name. We did it. No, she corrected. You didn't have to believe me. but you did. He stepped beside her, close, but not touching. I used to see my father as a hero, a perfect alpha, but he wasn't. He betrayed this pack. He betrayed you. And I let his legacy blind me. She turned to him. So what now? I don't know, he said, but I want to find out. With you. Samantha hesitated. I'm still angry. At you. At the bond. At everything. You can be angry, Aiden said softly. But don't shut me out. I don't trust easily. I'm not asking you to trust me right now. I'm asking you to let me earn it. She studied him, then nodded. One step at a time. 3 days later, the entire pack gathered in the clearing beneath the full moon. It wasn't a claiming ceremony. It was a declaration. Aiden stepped onto the platform with Lucas and Eleanor flanking him. Samantha stood at the bottom of the stairs, by choice. I come before you not to declare dominance, Aiden said, but to correct the past. He paused, then turned towards Samantha. This pack was built on blood and silence, but from this day forward, it will be led by strength and truth, and that begins with recognizing the woman who fought harder for justice than any of us. He extended a hand. She is my mate, but she is also your equal, and she has earned her place among you. The crowd was silent, watching. Then Rachel stepped forward. I stand with her. Then Beth. Me too. One by one, warriors bowed. Elders nodded, and the wolves, who once whispered, now stood tall in her presence. Samantha stepped up beside Aiden, not as an outcast, but as the rightful Luna of Red Hollow. The wind shifted just before dusk. Samantha was helping Beth with an injured pup when the scent hit her. Cloying, expensive perfume laced with venomous intent. Aiden's door slammed open across the field. Rachel nearly dropped her tray. No way! What? Samantha asked, wiping her hands. Rachel narrowed her eyes. She's back. The she in question. Vanessa Kane, the Alpha's former lover, the daughter of a wealthy high-ranking beta family from the neighbouring pack, and the woman who had once believed she would be Luna. Samantha turned in time to see Vanessa strutting across the courtyard in designer boots, red lips curled into a smug smile, a shimmering black coat trailing behind her like she owned the moon. Aiden! She squealed as she reached him. He stepped back from her hug, jaw clenched. Vanessa! She ran manicured fingers down his arm. You didn't return my letters. Because I didn't read them. Her smile didn't falter. I came to see how you've been, and offer my support. I heard about the rogue attacks. Then, her eyes flicked to Samantha, who was standing perfectly still beside the medical cabin. Oh, she said sweetly. You must be the pet. Samantha blinked once. Excuse me? Outcast, stray, mate by mistake, Vanessa said, smiling like she was being polite. Heard so many titles. Wasn't sure which one you answered to. Rachel stepped forward, growling. Watch your tone! I'd watch yours, Omega! Vanessa snapped, eyes flashing. Samantha held up a hand, stopping Rachel. It's fine, she said calmly. If she's here to measure worth, I'll let her compare reputations. But I promise, mine isn't built on sleeping her way through the ranks. Vanessa's jaw twitched. Aiden stepped between them. Enough. But Vanessa leaned towards Samantha and whispered, This pack isn't yours, sweetheart. Not yet. Samantha was in the training yard the next morning when she felt the shift again, that subtle pressure on the back of her neck that screamed someone was watching. She turned. Vanessa stood near the fence, arms folded, smirking. You planning to stare me into submission? Samantha called. I'm just wondering how long you'll last. You're not exactly what I'd call Luna material. You mean I don't shop in leather heels or flirt with every warrior in a 50-mile radius? Vanessa's smile darkened. You think this pack wants someone with your name tied to murder? You're a charity case, a pity mate. Samantha stalked toward her, slow and measured. "You're right," she said quietly. "They didn't want me, but they respect me now. Because I fought for it, earned it. You don't scare me, Vanessa. You just remind me how far I've come." Vanessa tilted her head. "Then let's make it official." Samantha narrowed her eyes. "What?" "Challenge," Vanessa said sweetly. "A lunar duel." Rachel gasped behind her. "She's serious." Vanessa grinned. "Unless you're scared." Samantha met her gaze. "Name the time." "Tomorrow, midnight, under the full moon." Then she sauntered off, hips swaying, like the winner had already been decided. The courtyard was silent. Every ranked wolf in Red Hollow stood in a wide circle, the centre reserved for two. Aiden watched with arms folded, flanked by Lucas and Elena. Beth stood beside Rachel, her lips tight with worry. Samantha pulled her hair back, stepping into the circle barefoot. She wore no armor, no jewelry, just strength in her limbs and fire in her eyes. Vanessa stepped in opposite her, smirking, of course, in a black-fitted bodysuit, silver claws painted onto her nails. "Ready to be exposed, Mutt?" she asked. Samantha raised her chin. "I was, born in the fire you're trying to play with." Trina, acting as officiator, raised her voice. "This is a lunar challenge. Combat. Submission ends it. Death is forbidden. Begin." They shifted at the same time. Samantha's silver wolf leapt first, quick, sharp, merciless. Vanessa's black wolf dodged, but Samantha was already beneath her, slamming her into the ground. Gasps echoed. Vanessa struck back, claws slicing Samantha's shoulder. But Samantha rolled and bit her leg, dragging her down. It wasn't graceful. It wasn't elegant. It was war. Blood in the dirt. Howls in the air. And finally, Vanessa pinned, neck bared, whimpering. Samantha shifted back, panting, blood dripping down her cheek. "I yield," Vanessa rasped, shifting back. Trina nodded. "It's done." Samantha turned her back and walked away. No cheers, no arrogance. But when she passed Aiden, he looked at her like the moon had chosen her all over again. The next morning, Samantha limped through the halls, her shoulder bandaged but healing. Rachel was at her side, proudly recounting the moment she tackled Vanessa mid-air. "I swear, your leap was like supernatural," she gushed. "It was adrenaline," Samantha muttered. "It was dominance, and she'll never forget it." They reached the council hall where Lucas flagged them down. "There's something you need to see." He led them to the council archives, unlocking a metal drawer with shaking hands. Inside, charred letters, seals, more contracts. Rachel squinted. "Are those—" Lucas nodded grimly. "More Warpack documents, found buried beneath Vanessa's guest room. She was hiding them." Samantha's jaw clenched. "So she knew about Gabriel's betrayal?" "Worse," Lucas said. "She was corresponding with the Warpack Alpha's son, planning to broker another deal through marriage." Rachel cursed under her breath. "She came here to hijack Red Hollow." Samantha looked at Lucas. "Burn it, all of it, and prepare for retaliation. If she has friends in the Warpack, they won't take her humiliation lightly." Lucas nodded. Already on it. As Samantha left the archives, her steps were slower but firmer. She wasn't just surviving anymore. She was preparing to lead. That night, Aiden found her in the Luna's quarters, still mostly bare, her clothes in a single drawer, her books stacked on the floor. He knocked once before entering. "You're bleeding," he said. "It'll heal." "I didn't want the challenge," he murmured. "I didn't want any of this for you." "But I needed it," she replied, "to silence them." He stepped closer. "You've never needed to prove anything to me." She looked at him, raw and quiet. "But I did. Because for a long time, you looked at me like I reminded you of something broken." He swallowed. "That's not what I see anymore." She stepped into him. "Then what do you see?" His hands framed her face. A Luna who faced down her demons, A fighter. A woman who's stronger than every wolf in this territory, including me. Samantha's eyes shimmered. You still want me, even with the ghosts. I want all of you. Not because the moon goddess bound us, but because I'd choose you, even if she hadn't. He kissed her, slow and full of reverence, and this time she didn't pull away. The smell of smoke drifted into Red Hollow at dawn. Aiden stood on the eastern ridge with Lucas, both staring toward the rising columns of black in the distance. South Ridge Outpost, Lucas said grimly. War pack. They're not just testing us anymore, Aiden muttered. They're provoking. Behind them, Samantha approached at a run, Rachel beside her. What happened? Samantha asked, slightly breathless. Attack, Aiden replied. Border post. 3 injured, 1 dead. Her chest tightened. Do we know who? Lucas answered quietly. Derek. Rachel gasped. Derek? He just got mated last month. Aiden's jaw clenched. Call an emergency council meeting. Now. 2 hours later, the main hall buzzed with tension. Trina addressed the room, her voice echoing. The war pack has not claimed responsibility, but the signs are clear. This was no rogue act. They're testing our new leadership, Elena added, seeing if Samantha's position weakened us. I'm not weakened, Samantha said, standing. I'm focused. Trina met her gaze. Then tell us. What would you have us do, Luna? Samantha scanned the faces. Rachel, Beth, Lucas, even Marcus, standing silently at the edge of the crowd. She lifted her chin. Prepare for retaliation, but not blindly. We won't lose wolves over pride. We'll investigate first. Confirm the trail. I'll lead the scouting party. Aiden stepped forward instantly. You won't go alone. I wasn't asking for permission, she said quietly. But I'll take Rachel. And Beth. Trina nodded once. Then you leave at first light. The trees at the edge of Warpack territory were gnarled and twisted, shadows clinging to their bark like moss. Samantha, Rachel, and Beth moved in. Silence, flanked by 2 skilled trackers, Jonas and Arlo. This place always creeps me out, Beth whispered. It should, Rachel muttered. Too quiet. Too wrong. Samantha crouched, brushing her fingers across a set of claw marks in the dirt. Fresh, just hours old. Arlo pointed ahead. Footprints, not wolf tracks, human, heavy, wounded. Jonas sniffed. Someone ran. This way. Fast. Samantha stood. Split off and follow the trail. Don't engage. We regroup by sundown. Jonas and Arlo shifted and darted off. The 3 women continued toward a narrow stream where the stench of blood hit them all at once. Beth nearly gagged. Oh God! Samantha knelt beside the water. A severed arm floated beneath the current, tangled in reeds. Black fur. Gold ring on 1 finger. Rachel swallowed. That's not one of ours. No, Samantha said. Warpack casualty. Beth frowned. You think they were ambushed? Rachel added. By who? Rogues? No, Samantha murmured, pulling the body closer. This was a message, one meant for us. They looked up and saw the bloody sigil scratched into a nearby tree, the symbol of Marcus Gray. They returned to Red Hollow before nightfall. Samantha headed straight for her father's quarters, slamming the door open. Marcus stood calmly, sharpening a blade. You found it? Don't play games, Samantha snapped. Your mark was on the body. He set the blade down. Then it worked. Rachel, standing behind her, barked. You set them up. Marcus turned to Samantha. That man you found. He was the one who erased the first batch of documents. He betrayed me. And you needed proof to bring down the rest of the Warpack Council. You murdered him? She asked, stunned. I gave him a choice. He chose to run, Beth growled. So you staged a corpse to send a message? Samantha stared at him. You're playing a dangerous game. I'm fighting one, Marcus said coldly. One your mate won't. Aiden still thinks diplomacy works, but the war pack only understands blood. She stepped forward. If you ever act without my command again, I will strip your title and banish you. Marcus blinked. Are we clear? She asked. He nodded, slower this time. Yes, Luna. Back in their quarters, Aiden paced, while Samantha cleaned the blood from her arms. You should have told me, he said finally. About the mark. I handled it. That's not the point, she turned sharply. Then what is it? That I'm not soft enough, not clean enough? You said you wanted a Luna. Well, I'm not just a Luna. I'm your equal. You don't get to make all the decisions anymore. He stopped moving. That's not what I meant. But there are lines, Sam. Like what? Using what we have to gain the upper hand? No, he said. Like letting your father pull your strings. She flinched. He sighed. I didn't mean... Yes, you did. The silence stretched. Finally, Samantha stepped away. I'm going to sleep in the guest wing tonight. He didn't stop her. Snow fell heavy over Red Hollow that night. Samantha walked the perimeter alone, cloak tight around her, the cold burning her cheeks. That's when she heard it. A scream. She ran. Near the old supply shed, she found two young wolves, bleeding, slashed. They came out of the dark, one choked. Rogues, no, warpack, marked, elite. More screams followed. Fires began to flicker in the trees. By the time Samantha shifted, the enemy was upon them. Elites in black armor, muzzles covered, silent but deadly. She howled for backup, launching herself at the nearest wolf. Rachel arrived seconds later, followed by Lucas, then Beth. The courtyard exploded in chaos. Samantha fought with fire in her blood, rage in every claw swipe. A familiar snarl behind her. Aiden. He tore through two attackers, back to back with her. And for a moment, in the burning snow, they fought like one. When the invaders finally retreated, half the pack was injured. 3 dead. Aiden gripped her shoulder. They're not testing us anymore. Samantha's eyes glowed. They're declaring war. The war room was silent save for the crackling of the fire. Samantha stood at the head of the long table, flanked by Aiden and Marcus. Rachel leaned against the map wall, arms folded, while Lucas paced with a wounded limp. Beth quietly handed out reports, eyes shadowed with worry. Aiden spread a map open on the table, tapping the southern border. The warpack hit 4 patrol zones last night. They knew our weaknesses. Lucas nodded grimly. They avoided the warrior-heavy posts, went after the youth dens. That wasn't a raid, it was a warning. Rachel growled. If we don't retaliate, they'll think we're afraid. Samantha's voice cut through the tension. They already do. That ends now. All eyes turned to her. We stop reacting, she said. We strike, hard, where it hurts. Not just muscle, but leadership. If we can cripple their command structure, they'll scatter. Marcus arched a brow. You mean assassinate their alpha? No, Samantha said. We destroy their support, their funding, their alliances. We take the ground out from beneath them until they fall on their own. Beth hesitated. That means going after their beta lines, their supply chains. Civilians. Not civilians, Samantha clarified. Traitors. Every contact we have tells us their beta families fund the conflict. We cut the line. Aiden spoke next. We plan, we hit, and we don't stop until they beg for terms. He looked to Samantha. And Luna leads the first mission. The moon was low when Samantha, Rachel, and a small elite team crossed into the outer territory of the Warpack's eastern camp. They moved silently under the cloak of shadows. Black paint streaked across their faces. Jonas and Arlo, now trusted trackers, scouted ahead. Rachel whispered, Supply barns 50 yards east. 2 guards. Make it 1, Samantha said. Jonas took the first guard with a silent blade. Arlo lunged for the second. Samantha signaled. The rest forward. Beth stayed at the rear, guarding the exit path. Inside the barn, rows of crates stacked with weapons, dried food, and silver bullets. Samantha's hands curled into fists. They were preparing for a siege. Rachel's eyes narrowed. Let's give them one. They doused the crates in oil and gunpowder. Jonas set the first charge. As the fire caught, a horn blasted from the far tower. Move! Samantha shouted. Warriors burst from the barracks, snarling. Red Hollow wolves met them in the field, fangs bared. Samantha fought without pause, her silver wolf tearing through enemy lines, wild and fast. She tackled an armored wolf twice her size, clawed his throat, and shoved him into the fire. Rachel appeared at her side, blood splattered on her face. You good? Samantha nodded. Let's finish this. The fire swallowed the barn, illuminating the sky like a second sun. And by the time the Red Hollow wolves vanished into the night, the Warpack had lost half their stores and 3 of their ranking officers. The victory celebration was brief. Back at Red Hollow, Samantha strode into the war room only to find Marcus and Lucas arguing, voices low and tense. What's going on? She asked. Lucas turned to her. We found something in the recovered scrolls from the raid. A message from a mole in red. Hollow. Someone's been feeding them information, Marcus scowled. Someone close. Samantha's stomach turned. Who? Beth entered quietly, face pale. We traced the signature rune. She hesitated. Rachel stepped forward. Who is it? Beth looked down. Elena. Aiden's beta. Samantha froze. That can't be right. Beth pulled out the scroll. It's her personal cipher. She's been leaking patrol schedules, weakness points, strategic moves, Lucas growled. She sold us out. Aiden walked in, mid-conversation with another warrior, and stopped as soon as he saw their faces. What happened? Samantha met his eyes. It's Elena. Silence. He shook his head. No, she's been with me since I became Alpha. She wouldn't. Beth handed him the scroll. She did. Aiden stared down at the markings for a long time, then whispered, Where is she now? Gone, Lucas said. Disappeared 2 hours ago. We think she ran. Samantha stepped forward. Then she's not coming back, and she just became their greatest weapon. By morning, the camp was on high alert. Watch rotations doubled. Scout teams spread across the ridges. Every warrior, healer, and elder waited for another strike. But it didn't come. Not right away. Samantha stood in the old field, where the Luna's ceremony had once been held. She stared up at the cloud-covered sky, arms crossed over her chest. Marcus approached, slow and quiet. You blame yourself. I vouched for her, Samantha said softly. I trusted her. She fooled all of us, Marcus replied. But don't let that mistake shake your instincts. You saw the truth long before the rest. Samantha turned to him. Did you know her? I knew her father, Marcus said. He tried to play both sides during the First Border War. Guess she inherited the same sickness. They stood in silence. Then Samantha said, She's not just leaking intel. She's planning something. She knows everything about us. Aiden's history, our formation strategy, even my wolf. Marcus nodded slowly. Then you do what leaders do. She looked at him. You hunt her down, he said, before she destroys everything we built. That night, Aiden entered their quarters with red-rimmed eyes. I still can't believe it, he said. She raised me like a sister. Samantha touched his shoulder. You don't have to stop loving her, but you have to accept what she's become. She was always better than me at diplomacy, always quicker, sharper. I thought she was building this with me. She wasn't, Samantha said. But I am. Aiden looked at her then, really looked. You're not just Luna anymore, he said. You're becoming the reason this pack survives. Samantha stepped into him, resting her head against his chest. Then let's make sure it does. He kissed the top of her head. We go after her tomorrow. She nodded. And we finish. This. Outside, the snow began to fall again. But this time, it didn't feel like peace. It felt like the storm was only beginning. The council room doors slammed shut as Samantha paced in front of the fire, fury simmering behind her eyes. Still, no sign of her? She asked sharply. Lucas shook his head. We tracked her as far as the old ridge border, then nothing. Either she crossed into Warpack territory, or someone's hiding her. Rachel sat beside Beth, arms folded. I say we burn the whole border forest if we have to. We don't have the numbers for blind fire, Samantha said. Not when they're baiting us. Elena knows our weaknesses. We don't fight her on her terms. Marcus entered quietly, carrying a worn satchel. I might have a solution. Everyone turned. She's using old smuggler tunnels. Gabriel had them built in case of exile. He tossed a map onto the table. I spent years memorizing them. There's a path that leads straight into the Warpack's northern den. Aiden frowned. You're saying she's inside their stronghold already? Or worse, Marcus replied. She's leading it. Silence blanketed the room. Samantha straightened. Then we infiltrate before they strike again. No waiting, no hesitation. Aiden met her eyes. You and me, together, she nodded. No more running. The tunnels smelled of damp stone and history. Samantha walked beside Aiden, torches flickering off the narrow walls. Behind them, Rachel, Beth, Lucas, and Marcus moved with weapons drawn. Each breath echoed louder than the last. Gabriel used this, Aiden whispered. Marcus nodded. When he was selling secrets, Samantha clenched her jaw. My father tried to expose him. Instead, he got branded the murderer, Beth muttered. Funny how the truth always comes too late. They reached a split in the tunnel. Lucas raised a hand. Voices, up ahead. They crouched near the mouth of the cavern. Through a crack, Samantha saw them, Elena and a group of Warpack warriors. She stood at the head of the circle, torchlight gleaming off her dark braid, her voice commanding. I know how they move. I know who guards the ridge, and I know their Luna bleeds when she overextends her shoulder. Aiden growled. Samantha stepped forward. Let me. She shifted silently, silver fur blending with the stone. Then she lunged. The cavern exploded into chaos. Warpack wolves snarled, but Red Hollow tore through them with ruthless precision. Samantha pinned Elena against the wall, fangs to her throat. Elena didn't struggle. She just smiled. You're too late. What did you do? Samantha growled. They're already in your home. They raced through the tunnels like hellhounds. By the time they reached the surface, Red Hollow was under siege. Smoke coiled through the trees. Screams echoed in the distance. Wolves fought in the shadows, blood and ash mingling in the snow. Rachel tore off her cloak and shifted mid-run. I'll find the pups. Beth followed her. I've got the healer's tent. Samantha didn't stop. She and Aiden headed straight for the heart of the chaos. The pack house was ablaze. Warpack elites burst from the smoke, silver-tipped weapons in hand. Aiden tackled the first, breaking his spine in a single move. Samantha ripped into the second, even as a gash opened across her thigh. She limped to the Luna's quarters. Inside, 3 young wolves huddled in fear. Come on, she yelled. Move! They ran behind her as another blast hit the east wall. Then she saw her. Vanessa. She stood atop the balcony, dressed in black, blade in hand, blood on her mouth. You survived, she purred. Samantha limped closer, chest heaving. You brought this war to my door. No, Vanessa said. You started it the day Aiden looked at you instead of me. Samantha smiled grimly. Then let's end it. The final battle didn't happen in a field or a sacred forest. It happened on the ashes of Red Hollow's courtyard. Samantha and Vanessa circled one another, one bloodied, the other wild with hatred. You don't deserve to wear his mark, Vanessa spat. You were born in disgrace, Samantha growled. Then let me show you how disgrace fights. They shifted in unison. Silver met black, claws against claws, teeth against fury. Aiden, battling just yards away, could barely breathe as he watched Samantha hold her own, despite the limp, despite the exhaustion. Vanessa lunged, aiming for the throat. Samantha twisted, using her weight to flip the black wolf into the burning rubble. She leapt, pinning Vanessa down, one clean bite. A final snap. It was over. Samantha stood over Vanessa's body, chest heaving, her fur stained red. Around her, the war pack began to retreat, leaderless, broken, defeated. Beth and Rachel regrouped, limping, but alive. Lucas helped wounded wolves, to shelter. Marcus fought until the last enemy fled, and when Aiden reached Samantha, he shifted and knelt beside her. "Are you hurt?" he asked. She nodded once. "But I'm here." And for the first time in years, Red Hollow stood victorious. The flames had died, the snow returned, and the ground, though blood-stained, felt sacred. Samantha stood before the pack in the courtyard, now cleaned, rebuilt, and silent in respect. Rachel and Beth stood proudly at her side. Marcus behind her, older, but unbowed. Lucas, his limp permanent, now stood like a soldier refusing surrender. Aiden stepped beside Samantha, fingers entwined with hers. "I was brought here as a punishment," Samantha began. "Cast into the shadows of your hate, blamed for the sins of a father who never had a voice. I was mocked, dismissed, rejected." She paused, voice steady. "But I stayed. I fought. I led." She looked at Aiden, then back to the pack. "And I forgave." Tears shone in the eyes of many who once turned their backs on her. "I am no longer your outcast," she said. "I am your Luna." Aiden raised her hand. "And I am her alpha." Cheers rose like thunder. They howled together, wolves of every rank, age, and past mistake. Samantha closed her eyes and let the sound wash over her, not as a girl carrying guilt, but as the woman who had earned her place in the heart of the pack. And this time, no one would ever take it from her again. The dawn was pale but steady, breaking over a still smoking Red Hollow. Samantha stood on the rebuilt porch of the pack house, wrapped in a thick woolen cloak, staring out over the land she now ruled. Aiden approached quietly, handing her a steaming cup of herbal tea. "You look tired," he said softly. "I am," she admitted, "but this is only the beginning." He leaned close, voice low. "The pack needs you strong. We all do." She smiled, faintly. "I'm stronger than I ever thought I could be." "Good," he murmured, "because peace is a different kind of battle." Inside, the pack gathered. Rachel and Beth moved among the wolves, tending wounds and sharing quiet words of encouragement. Marcus stood beside Lucas, both silent as they surveyed the damage. Samantha stepped forward. "Tonight, we mourn. Tomorrow, we rebuild." The pack's howls rose together, a sound not of despair, but of promise. 2 days later, a lone rider arrived at the pack house gates. Aiden greeted him, eyes narrowing. The rider bowed slightly. "I am Gabriel. I bring a message." Samantha's breath caught. Gabriel, the Warpack Alpha's son. The man who had once brokered deals with Samantha's father, and whose betrayal had started the chain of bloodshed. "What message?" Samantha asked cautiously. Gabriel's gaze flicked to Aiden. "The Warpack surrenders. We want peace." Rachel scoffed. "After everything they did?" Gabriel raised a hand. "Because your strength shattered us, and because a war that never should have started has cost too many lives." Samantha exchanged a glance with Aiden. "Peace," she repeated softly. "Is it possible?" Gabriel nodded. "If you're willing to lead the way." In the council chamber, Samantha and Gabriel sat opposite each other, the pack watching in silence. "I offer a truce," Gabriel said. "No more raids, no more bloodshed. We will dismantle our offensive units and join you in protecting these lands." Aiden folded his arms. How do we know this isn't a trick? Gabriel's eyes met his. You don't, but if we break this pact, your pack will be the first to know. Samantha leaned forward. And what of Elena? What will become of her? Gabriel looked away. She acted alone. We'll find her, or she will find justice. Rachel spat. Justice from the man who raised her? I doubt it. Samantha raised a hand. We'll start with forgiveness, but only if it's earned. Gabriel smiled faintly. Agreed. The pact was sealed with a shared howl. 2 packs united after years of blood and betrayal. Weeks passed. Red Hollow flourished with rebuilding, new homes, fresh fields, and laughter returning to the woods. Samantha spent long days with Aiden, planning festivals, training warriors, and tending the pack's new leaders. Rachel and Beth organized healing circles and council meetings, their friendship stronger than ever. One evening, Samantha sat beside Aiden by the fire, watching the stars, in wink awake. Do you think we can really trust Gabriel? She asked. Aiden smiled. Trust is built, not given, but with you leading, I believe we can. She rested her head on his shoulder. I never thought I'd find a home here. You're not just home, he said. You're the heart of this pack. On the night of the new moon, the entire pack gathered in the sacred clearing. Samantha stepped forward, her silver fur shining in the moonlight. Aiden took her hand. Tonight, Samantha declared, we honor the past and look toward the future. We stand as one, stronger, wiser, and united. She turned to the pack. I vow to protect every wolf here, to lead with justice and heart, to carry the legacy of this pack, not as the daughter of a murderer, but as your Luna. The pack howled, a chorus of acceptance, hope, and new beginnings. Aiden stepped beside her, voice low and sure. And I, as your alpha, vow to stand beside you, always. Samantha smiled, the weight of years lifting. Together, they howled once more. Under the dark sky, surrounded by the pack that had once shunned, Samantha finally felt whole, not just as Luna, but as a leader, a mate, and the heart of Red Hollow.